cushion or find yourself a rug. Make yourself a space where you feel nice and snug. Shall we tell a story? Shall we sing a tune? The Moonbeam Minis going to start soon.
Hello! In this mini, I'm going to be reading Slinky Malinki by Lynley Dodd. There are going to be some moments for some sensory exploration during the story. So for this, you will need something soft, like a cat, something that you can squish. I'm going to be using my squish from one of our previous minis. A biscuit, this one's my favourite. A sock. Something lacy or frilly. And a jumper or a blanket. Slinky Malinki by Lynley Dodd. This was one of my favourites as a child. I hope you enjoy it. Slinky Malinki was blacker than black, a stalking and lurking adventurous cat. He had bright yellow eyes and a warbling wail, and a kink at the end of his very long tail. If you have your soft item, why not pick it up and give it a stroke? Imagine that it's Slinky Malinki come to sit on your lap. I have a cat, and she would never let me stroke her if she came to sit on my lap. But Slinky Malinki seems like a friendly cat, doesn't he? What does it feel like to you? Do you like the feeling? If this was Slinky Malinki, he'd be very soft. If you'd like to keep stroking your soft item while I carry on reading, feel free to. He was cheeky and cheerful, friendly and fun. He'd chase after leaves, and he'd roll in the sun. But at night, he was wicked and fiendish and sly. Through moonlight and shadow, he'd prowl and he'd pry. He crept along fences and leapt over walls. He poked into corners and he sneaked into halls. What was he up to? At night, to be brief, Slinky Malinki turned into a thief. All over town, from basket and bowl, he pilfered and pillaged, he snitched and he stole. Slippers and sausages, biscuits, balloons, brushes and bandages, pencils and spoons. Slinky Malinki's turned into a thief. If you have your biscuit nearby, Why don't you pick it up and give it a little try? I can see why Slinky wanted to steal one of these. It's very tasty. If you want to keep eating your biscuit while I carry on reading, feel free to. He pulled them, he dragged them, he heaved them until he'd carried them home to his house on the hill. One rascally night, between midnight and 4, Slinky Malinki stole more than before. Some pegs and a teddy bear dressed up in lace, a gardening glove from McCafferty's place. If you'd like to pick up your lacy or frilly material or item, you can. This is like the lace that's on the teddy bear in the story. What does it feel like to you? This feels a little bit scratchy to me. But you can look through it as well if it's got holes in it and see how it changes the way things look in your room. I'm going to keep reading, but if you'd like to carry on playing with your lacy material, feel free to. A tatty old sneaker, a smelly old sock, and Jennifer Turkington's pottery smock. How did he manage to carry all these things? If you'd like to pick up your sock, give it a sniff like the smelly old sock in the story. Hopefully your one smells a little bit better than the one that Slinky Malinki stole. I hope you're using a clean one. What does it smell like to you? I'm going to carry on with the story. A squishy banana, some glue and a pen, a cushion from Oliver Tulliver's den. If you'd like to pick up your squishy item, give it a squeeze like the squishy banana that Slinky's stealing. I like the feeling of this one. It's quite relaxing. Maybe try squishing it in different ways with your hand like this, or with a finger and thumb. If it's something that you can mould, why not try moulding it into different shapes like this? I've made it all flat. Or you could squish it against something like a table or a chair that you're sitting nearby. Maybe you'd like to see what it's like squishing it against your own hand or your leg maybe. See how that feels like if you like it. It's easy for me to pretend that this is like a squishy banana. If you'd like to carry on doing that, you can. I'm going to read the story now. A clock and some bottles, a pair of blue jeans, a half-knitted jersey, a packet of beans. He pulled them, he dragged them, he heaved them until he'd carried them home to his house on the hill. If you'd like to pick up your jumper or blanket that you've got nearby, why not feel how that feels, like the half knitted jersey that Slinky is stealing. My one feels very soft, and it has a knitted texture like the jersey, but if your one isn't knitted, don't worry. Maybe try balling it up into a big ball and hugging it close, seeing how that feels. Or maybe you want to try putting it on if it's a blanket or a big jumper. The one that Slinky Malinki was stealing couldn't be worn, it wasn't finished yet. But how does your one feel? Is it keeping you nice and warm? If you'd like to stay wrapped up in it, then you can. I'm going to carry on reading now. Then Slinky Malinki, rapscallion cat, piled them up high in a heap on the mat. The glue toppled over and gummed up the pegs. The jersey unravelled and tangled his legs. He tripped on the bottles and he slipped on the sock. He tipped over sideways and he set off the clock. Crash went the bottles, beep beep went the clock. Row, 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 row went the dogs on the block. On went the lights, bang went the door, and out came the family. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, they all said. What a criminal cat! Tomorrow we'll have to take everything back. With a tangled up middle and glue on his face, Slinky Malinki was deep in disgrace. Look at his sad face in this picture. He's been well and truly caught, hasn't he? Never again did he answer the call when moon shadows danced over garden and wall. When whispers of wickedness stirred in his head, he adjusted his whiskers and stayed home instead. The end. I hope you've enjoyed this Storytime mini. Goodbye.